Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on Brave New Hollywood. My guest today is actress and now writer, filmmaker, Lynn Chen. We're here to talk about her beautiful new film called I Will Make You Mine. So let's talk about your film. The title, how did you come up with the title of the film?
So the title I Will Make You Mine is a song by Yea-Ming Chen, who plays herself in the movie. She's a musician. And the song already existed. Yea-Ming had already written that song with her band, The Rumors. And when we were writing the movie, when I was writing the movie, my husband was like, oh, you should name the movie after one of Yea-Ming's songs, because the first two movies in the trilogy, this movie is the last movie in a trilogy, were named after songs also. So he started naming all of Yea-Ming's songs. And when he came to I Will Make You Mine, I was like, oh, that sounds like a good name for a movie. Let's maybe name it that. And when I listened to the song and listened to the lyrics, I thought, hey, I could write a movie around this. So that's why it's named I Will Make You Mine.
So in a way, it inspired you to write the story?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Wow.
It informed the script.
So tell us in your own words, since we have the filmmaker here, what is this film about?
So I Will Make You Mine, as I mentioned, is the third movie in a trilogy. And the first two movies revolved around Go Nakamura, a San Francisco Bay Area musician who plays a version of himself. In these movies, Go was always trying to find the love of his life, and each movie ended with a cliffhanger ending. And in my movie, 7 years later, we catch up with Go and the woman from the first two movies, but instead of looking at it through Go's eyes, we now see the movie and how they've aged through the woman's eyes. So it's through the feminine perspective. And it's a movie about three women who all have very different lives and all sorts of different problems in different stages of their life, but they revisit their past through the same man who's Go Nakamura.
And the decision, I guess, was always to have female leads, three female leads.
So this happened very organically. There was never any plan. The movie was the reason I decided to take it on and tell it from this perspective was because Dave Boyle, who did the first two movies, he jokingly said that this movie was going to be the lowest budget trilogy ever made back in 2011 and 2012 when the movie first premiered at South by Southwest, the first two movies. And 7 years had passed and I thought there was going to be a third movie, and Dave informed me there was never going to be a third movie, that he was done with telling that story. And so I asked, can I take a stab at it? And he said yes, and he offered to help me make it. And so when he said that, I immediately jumped on it because I felt like this was such an incredible opportunity to have this mentor. And I didn't really know what I was doing or what it would look like, but I just felt like a calling to finally finish this movie trilogy. And so I did it, and it just so happened that, you know, me as a female filmmaker, I wanted to tell the story through the woman's eyes. And I'm glad that I did, because I feel like it differentiated the movie from the first two.
It's a film by a director who's also an actress.
Well, you know, I was in the movie because I was in the first two movies. I think, you know, usually when actors transition into filmmakers, they like to not put themselves in it so that they can just focus on the filmmaking part. I wore a lot of hats on this movie. I had never done a feature film before, or even a short in terms of like filmmaking. And with this movie, I produced it, I wrote it, I directed it, and I'm in it. And that's a lot of things to do. But at the same time, I'm really glad that I did it, because now I feel like I can kind of do anything.
Yeah.
And the next time I direct a movie, I probably won't be in it myself, just so I can focus on that. But I'm glad I did it, because now I know I can do it. It doesn't seem as daunting and scary to me.
What would you say was the biggest challenge of making this film?
I mean, obviously, all filmmaking has a lot of challenges. And I was prepared. I was prepared to have those kinds of challenges present themselves, because I've been on so many sets before, and especially a lot of low budget sets. I'm used to things just sort of falling apart last minute. So I'm happy to say that most of our actual film production went pretty smoothly. I really was not thrown by anything, because I was expecting it, and the problems were all solvable. But the biggest challenge I found was after we were done, when we were editing it and we were in post-production. And I think that more was like a mental, emotional challenge that I wasn't expecting as a director. Because once you have the movie in the can, it's and something is not working out, it's not as simple as just doing a rewrite or another take.
Yes.
You have to fix it. And sometimes you don't have all the building blocks that you need to fix it. And that can be really frustrating and really scary, thinking like, what have I done? You know? And so that was hard.
I wanted to ask you, is it fair to say that the three women, are these three women somehow an embodiment of you?
Yeah, these three women are definitely different versions of myself. You know, Rachel, who I ended up playing, she's the part of me that basically has accomplished a lot of her dreams, a lot of what she had as goals in life, but is still feeling very unsatisfied.
Right.
And then you have Erica, who feels very old and very worn out and just so tired and she can't do it anymore. And then you have Yea-Ming, who just feels like she's just beginning. She's like so behind, feels so behind all of her peers. And I feel like as women, as people, you know, we are all multidimensional folks and we have all these different sides of ourselves. And so it was really nice to be able to put that on three different characters and have them live out my frustrations. Because, you know, when you meet people, you only are really showing them one side of yourself.
Sure.
And we're all complicated.
I also wanted to ask you, this film has three strong Asian female leads. What is the state of diversity in Hollywood or getting these kind of people cast in films today after the Me Too movement, after the inclusion rider? As an actress and somebody who works in movies in Hollywood, what is your take on that now?
I mean, things are definitely getting better. I've been an actor for over 3 decades, and I've definitely seen a big change in terms of hiring for myself and for others. And so that's great. But that said, usually it's not for a lot of Asians in one project. It's usually just for 1 or 2. And, you know, definitely not a lot of women of the same age. You know, like that's very rare that you would have so many women. So partially, you know, the reason the 3 leads are Asian is because of the first 2 movies. But I could have just stopped there, but I didn't want to stop there. I wanted to cast Joy Osmonsky, who was in the first 2 movies, in it. I wanted to cast Tamlyn Tomita in it because I wanted it to reflect my world and what my world looks like. I have a lot of Asian American friends who, you know, we're friends and we're different from one another. And I kind of wanted to show that you can have all these women simultaneously in the same movie and nobody's confused. Nobody is like, oh, they all look alike. We can't have more than one on screen. You know, everyone's very different. And I know that, you know, just from sitting in waiting rooms, waiting to audition for the same part with a lot of these actresses. I wanted to give them an opportunity and me an opportunity to finally play with one another because no one else was giving us that chance.
My guest is actress, filmmaker, Lynn Chen. We've been talking about her new film, I Will Make You Mine, which will be streaming on demand on May 26th. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us. Wish you all the best. And we definitely would love to see more films made by you and, of course, female filmmakers.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Bye-bye.